My Zoomer attention span couldn't hold up while I was recording this video. We spent so much time waiting for that piece of spinning rust to load any sort of application that I think I may be starting to recess in my mental capabilities. And then, oh, it's taking a second. Someone put some Subway Surfers gameplay over this. Welcome back to PC Sherpa. If you didn't know, this is a series where I take one of you guys in a one-on-one call to discuss your performance issues, specifically within Escape from Tarkov, but also in general, in an attempt to try and get you some better performance. Today we have quite the interesting setup, to say the least. We have a 3060 Ti with a i9 9900K and 32 gigabytes of RAM at 3200 megatransfers per second. But as you saw in the title, we got a hard drive. Now, it's not the game being installed on the hard drive that's the issue. It is the operating system. This guy has a SSD for Tarkov, but the OS is still on a spinning piece of rust. As you saw in the intro, that didn't really turn out well and caused for over half of my recording time to just be us sitting waiting for applications to load. I'll take you through what we did to help him out and give you my suggestions for improvement with this system, as there were some things that I found last minute as well that we were going to improve on too. If you like this series, make sure to hit the usual buttons down below and also join the Discord. It's the first link down below. If you want any help from me or any other of the amazing people in my Discord, please do join that. You'll be able to get help with any of your PC or Tarkov issues. I do PC Sherpa live on Sundays at 1:30 p.m. CST, and also occasionally on Fridays at 6:30 p.m. CST, or I'll play Tarkov during that time too. So feel free to pop in, ask your questions, and you might have a chance to get pulled in by me live on stream. Yeah, with that all out of the way, God, guys, you don't understand actually how much I cut out of this. Oh my God. So much. Just get to the video. Just I'm keeping this. Just get to the video. Holy shit. Oh my God. Just know that there wasn't that much of an improvement, but I'm pretty sure I have a theory as to why there wasn't that much of an improvement. So we'll get to that in a minute. For now, let's go to him. That's where we'll start. Yep, I remember. Okay, yeah, I looked at your PC, or not your PC Sherpa, your help forum post like a couple days ago, and
yeah,
and your settings were crazy. Your settings were crazy. That was, do you have the game open right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, pull that up real quick, because that was insane. Yeah, okay, that was fine. This, whoa, a lot of motion right here.
Actually, so these are actually all from the Discord bot.
Oh, it probably, wait, but you have a 3060 yeah, we're working on that. That's, it's also trying to figure out, like, depending on the map what you're gonna run, because like for example on some maps your 9900K is probably not gonna bottleneck you, but like the second you get out of like customs or factory or labs, that 9900K is probably going to become a problem. So at that point, we can start tweaking with this stuff. So yeah, if you want to go into an online raid, and then, or if you think you can survive an online raid, or you can do offline, and that's completely fine too. And then we can start tweaking stuff. I'd recommend scabbing into online if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I'll just scab online.
Yeah.
My performance is pretty decent on all other maps. it's just Streets, which I know Streets is like way more impactful, but
it's its own beast.
I still only getting like, 60 to 80 frames depending on the map and the location in the map. But I feel like I could be getting a lot more than that.
It's like your 3060 Ti would be completely fine if you had it paired with a more modern platform, And that's why everybody's like, oh, I gotta replace my whole motherboard. Welcome to Intel. But that is like, I've had so many people, and it breaks my heart every single time they come into my chat and they're like, yeah, I just bought like a 4080 and I paired it with like, and this is an exaggeration, but like my 9700K, and I didn't get any more performance. And it's a shitty game, that's why, and blah 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 blah. And it's just CPU heavy. I mean that's just the TLDR of it. It's just CPU heavy. Like Dragon Dogs, what the fuck? Dragon Dogma 2, whatever that game is. You know what I'm talking about? That game that came out really recently.
I've heard it's like 30 FPS.
Well, it's because for a long time in like the PC industry, I guess, the general consensus was like, you can, save a little bit of money on your CPU and put that money towards your GPU instead. But
yeah, I was totally of that thinking like 3 years ago, probably.
yeah, and that's I mean, it makes sense if you're, say, playing graphically intensive games. A lot of single player games, for example, don't look at Dragon Dogma 2 or whatever. But like if you're playing like Shadow of the Tomb Raider or something like that, right? Back in that era, it was graphically intensive more so. You didn't have to worry necessarily about the CPU, but like if you're playing competitive games, even where you're just like cranking down settings, or if you're playing games like this that are unoptimized, quote unquote, right? You need more CPU horsepower, because people don't understand that the CPU is literally what gives instructions to the GPU. The CPU is the walking stick, and the GPU is the blind man. That's what's happening. The walking stick can't go anywhere without the blind man, but the blind man is going to stumble and fall without the walking stick. So can't drive more frames if you're waiting on the CPU to catch up and draw on those.
Right. I may also get a few less frames because of Discord, but we'll see.
If you could find like some, just like Cardinal, for example, is a great place if you know where that is. It's just like up on the 3rd floor, hide up there. This isn't awful, honestly. It could be worse. I've seen a lot worse. So
it's usually a little better. I think Discord
is,
the stream is.
Now this is where it's shitting its pants. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Is there like an airstrike spawning in or something? Or is this just
an airstrike just finished?
Oh, okay. Damn. Man, yeah, that just tanked like crazy. Holy shit. So here's what we're gonna do first, just to help you out a little bit. You can stay in here, which is fine. I would close the door though behind you, just in case. You'll hear that open if somebody comes in. First, in your settings, because you probably have a lot of GPU headroom, I'm going to direct you out of the settings. That was a bait. We're going to go to MSI Afterburner first, just so I can show you what we're looking at here. Oh
shit.
There you go. Nice. Okay. So in here, in monitoring, you can check, and we won't check everything, but I'll just show you how to do it, just so I can like give you an idea of what's going on. Deciding not to do that was the stupidest decision I ever could have made in my entire life. There was a stat in here that I won't spoil right now that should have been checked, that would have sort of clued me in on what some of the issue was in here. For now though, I'll let this keep playing, but take your guesses as to what that was. Just check. You see GPU usage right there? Oh, sorry. Keep it checked and then click on it. Show an on-screen display. Boom. Apply. And then I'd also track the other stuff, but we'll just do GPU and CPU usage. I'll show you how to track the other stuff later. And then here you see the frame time. Yeah. Check that. And then as text and graph, and then you can hit OK. So now this is going to show you 3 things. A, obviously the amount of CPU and GPU usage you have right now, which is not entirely a great metric, but it'll help me describe something. And then also your frame time. So this is the frame time that you're seeing right now is just like the time in between each frame being displayed. But what this will show you is like how your frame is varying, and it'll also be able, like, a visual representation of if you ever stutter. It's like, for example, open your inventory again. You see that little bump in it right there? That was the stutter you felt. So if you open it again, see that? There it is. And you can just keep doing that. You see that. So like if you ever get a big stutter, you'll know that is it. When I'm using those numbers for GPU and CPU usage, you kind of want to see per core for CPU, but what this tells you, when the GPU is not 100%, you can be like, okay, there's a bottleneck in the rest of the rendering pipeline, and that's almost entirely managed by the CPU. So it's a CPU bottleneck right now, even though your CPU usage is not at 100%. The main reason why I was showing you that is to show you that you have a lot of GPU headroom to play with, and especially since you're at 1080p, right? Oh, you're at 1440. Oh, with a 3060 Ti.
I'm upscaled with NVIDIA.
Oh, with the LDSR? Oh, okay. So it's good that you had object LED quality at 2, because that's one of the few settings that's actually somewhat dependent on the CPU, or can affect the CPU's performance. It's not by that much, but if you can handle having it at the lowest setting, then that's good. Anti-aliasing is fine at TAA, or if you wanted to bump it up to TAA high, you can, and you won't lose any frame rate, because that's entirely GPU dependent. So you don't need to worry about that. Upscaling, obviously it doesn't look like you need that right now, because you are not like DLSS FSR. You don't need that because your CPU bottlenecked, that won't help you at all. HBAO is the next one there. It stands for Horizon-Based Ambient Occlusion, but that's just a fancy way of saying it puts little shadows around stuff, like little decorative shadows. So for example, right, if you just tab out with just save and then tab back out here, it's like, do you see in this room, it's perfect because you see like the toilet, you see the chair, you see the trash bag. See how they're all kind of just like flat on the wall? Like the seam between the toilet and the wall, there's nothing there whatsoever.
Yep.
Turn HBAO to max performance in the settings. You see how there's
I see like a little...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it's going away for some reason when I do that.
That's max performance. So like anytime it's occluded from the screen, it's no longer drawing the occlusion. Or when it thinks it's occluded, and that's why you're seeing that little visual artifact. I really like this because it makes the environment look less like Gary's mod, and makes it more like in depth.
Yeah, it's noticeable.
And you can also see it like even on like the creases of walls and everything like that. So it can help if say somebody's hiding in a corner or trying to blend in a little bit, because there'll be differences in like the color value on the wall, right? It won't just be like a flat wall. It's not going to affect your frame rate any, though this frame rate is crazy. I don't know what's going on right now. And
yeah, it's usually not this
why
bad.
Does it keep bumping up and down between 25 and 50? That's really strange. Is that, go back out?
It's like this.
It's when you go back. Oh, wow. That is crazy. But we're going to keep looking at it, so don't worry. Same thing too with anisotropic filtering that you had. That is fine on. I'm sure you noticed the clarity difference between on and off. If you ever notice that it starts to get, like if you're getting GPU bound, setting it to per texture can help with that as well, instead of on. It still keeps a good bit of the clarity, but it's less intensive. And then finally, we got Reflex. This is big. I'm assuming you have this off because of the bug that was around the wipe before.
This is my first wipe.
Oh, wow. Okay, nice. Okay. So Reflex syncs up the work that your CPU and GPU are doing so that in an ideal scenario, they're not waiting on each other as often. It's like the CPU will be delayed a certain amount of time before it starts rendering the frame. And by the time it gets the work that the GPU needs ready into a nice little neat bow, that is instantly sent off and the GPU gets to work on it. So it's not like there's no time where a new frame is waiting inside of the render queue to be processed by the GPU ever. You're in a CPU bound scenario here, but that's still keeping those timings tight will ensure you have the best latency possible, regardless of the scenario. So having it set to on is completely fine. On plus boost just tightens those timings a bit more, so it's a bit more strict. And it also attempts to make sure your GPU's clocks are kept at a higher, boost clock, hence the name boost. So that, like, for example, if you are getting to a point where your GPU is not being fully utilized, the clocks don't drop by accident, right? To like try to save power. That's tends to be, if you have like prefer maximum performance on in the NVIDIA control panel, it's pretty much what it's already doing in the first place. So there was a bug that I mentioned earlier, like, was it a wipe ago or 2 wipes ago? I don't remember. You turn Reflex on, you'd run a couple of raids, and then once you got into the next raid, your FPS would just be halved until you turned it off. Yeah. So
I have noticed that on streets, at least before I'd made the changes that I did last night, like the farther along the raid got, the worse it got.
Well, that makes sense.
It started stuttering so hard, like maybe 15, 20 minutes into the raid.
Let's take a look at that process lasso situation you had going on there, because I did want to see what was up with that. Can you sort by process name? Oh wow, okay, that's a lot of damage. Okay.
Yeah.
Why your Brave browser is only on 1 core?
Yeah, so that's another thing that I did last night.
Are you okay with that?
I forgot to mention. I mean, it seems to be working just as fast. Okay. I'll show you what I did, actually. So I set the affinity for Tarkov to be on all of them except for 0 and 1.
Oh, nice. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of the background, all the main background things that I would like normally have on while I'm playing. Like I'll have a map up or the wiki up or something like that. I think I also put Razor in the background.
Yes, you did. Looks like that. Yeah.
Steel series, the sonars in the background.
Capture service. Yeah, put that as background caption. We spent the next little while attempting to control some of the tasks via process Lasso in the same way he already had set up. And then after we spent some time doing that, and by the way, I'll make a full video regarding that in the next little while. I've heard a lot of questions about CPU affinity, so I'll make a video about that coming soonish. But after we did that, we tried to launch Geforce Experience, as I wanted to see what settings he had going on in there, just to see to make sure the overlay wasn't set up or anything like that. And that took forever to load. The reason I'm commentating over this is because of that amount of time. It was actually insane. Due to that, we thought it would be a better idea to simply wipe it and get it out of existence. We used NV cleanstall along with display driver uninstaller, or DDU, to clean his drivers and then install a lightweight version of the most recent NVIDIA drivers. If you haven't seen my video regarding NVIDIA cleanstall with display driver uninstaller, I'll link that video in the description for you guys whenever I remember, because as per usual, I'll only remember once somebody puts it in the comments section, because I need to get better at that. Regardless, we got all that done, but that took the better half of 2 hours. But whenever that was all done, it was time to actually go back in RAID and collect more metrics with MSI Afterburner. As said previously, I should have done this before, and you're about to see why. So then go down to CPU clock next. That'll give you the average clock. It'll be, yep, keep going. There it is. Holy shit, you're at 90C on the CPU. Whoa. Whoa.
Oh boy.
Whoa, we just got a new chapter unlocked here. Okay. Did you mention that you were trying to overclock? I think I saw that in the post, you were trying to overclock, but it would blue screen you.
I did at one point, but I reverted all of it.
I think it was because you were thermal oh, you just hit 100. Yeah, you're probably thermal throttling at this point a little bit. So because I saw that number hit 100 degrees Celsius, we downloaded Hardware Info. It's a really great utility if you don't know about it, just to see a bunch of different stats about your computer. And in there, sure enough, this is what we found. Okay. Hey, well, that was easy. So if you scroll down a little bit, you see how it says CPU package 100 degrees? And you see how core thermal throttling? Do you see how it says yes? Yeah, that's thermal throttling, all right. Yeah, and so it was. My suggestion, I sent him a very budget, cheap cooler that I think would do the job. It was the Peerless Assassin, by the way, for anybody asking. And then I also sent him the links to some thermal paste to be able to repaste it whenever he went and checked it. He wasn't actually using an Intel stock cooler for the 9900K, but it was definitely a brand that I haven't heard of before, so maybe it had something to do with that. Hopefully we'll be able to sort that out and get his temps down at least. I know this isn't the way that I normally go through with these PC Sherpa videos. I tend to just have them, run through and I chop it up, but there was 2.5 hours of recording here, and I wasn't going to have you guys sit through all of that, nor was I going to sit through and edit all of that through, because this video would have probably ended up being around an hour long. So we're not going to do that. I hope this helped. I'll have links to relevant videos in the description if you want to learn about anything. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them either in the comments below or over in my Discord, because either of those are a great place to come and ask me any questions. Again, I'll be streaming maybe after this video goes live. We'll see. But of course, on the usual schedule of Sundays at 1:30 p.m. CST and Friday at 6:30 p.m. CST. I appreciate all the support. Let me know how you like this video. And yeah, for now, thank you guys so much for watching. And this will be Clem. Clocking out. But not overclocking. We were overheating, so we can't overclock. Later.